Now is the time to come before the Father's presence, surrendering our lives, giving Him our humble praise, spirit and truth. We come before you now.
Hi, my name is April Phillips. I'm here to testify on They Overcame By. So I like to talk about my life as a single parent. I grew up in a very poor home with a single parent from Panama. And it was me and my 3 siblings and then 2 other cousin siblings that my mom was taking care of. And it was a very difficult life, and we were very poor and we struggled, and my mom was a professional, and she worked 2 and 3, sometimes 4 jobs to take care of us and other people's children. So I promised myself that one, I would never be poor, because I didn't want to have that life. I didn't want to struggle like my mom did. So I came to Oakwood, and my intention was to spread my wings and get out of poverty and have a good life. And I graduated from Oakwood, and then I got pregnant out of wedlock in my 2nd semester of graduate school. And I will tell you, if I hadn't made the decision before I got pregnant to have the baby if I had an unplanned pregnancy, I would have definitely had an abortion. And as a therapist now, I would like to tell mothers and fathers who are in the situation of an unplanned pregnancy that abortion is not a quick fix. It might kind of solve the problem for the moment, but unfortunately later in life, I have had the pleasure of counseling both men and women who, as a consequence of having abortions earlier in life, they were unable to some were unable to conceive because of physical trauma or mental health or behavioral problems that were linked to the loss associated with an abortion. Okay, so moving on from there, I had my child. Well, I got married because I was basically coerced into getting married because I came from a Christian background. And then I got unmarried because that's what usually happens when you're coerced into a marriage. And it wasn't necessarily that because he was bad or I was bad. We just weren't intended for each other, and it was forced, and it fell apart. And so I ended up being a single parent, and that was a very challenging life, very, very challenging. But I would like to tell you that God, He saw me through every single time. He made a way, and it was a struggle, but He made a way in my life. I had a son. My son is now at Oakwood, and he's studying music education. I'm very proud of him, and I'm very glad that I preserved his life, because he has blessed so many people with his music and with his acting and with his just personality, and people love him. And it's a beautiful thing when other people love and appreciate and enjoy your child. And it would have been an injustice if I had robbed this world of that child, of that blessing. So of course I did struggle, and I struggled with poverty, and I got I got food stamps, and we had Medicaid, and I struggled through graduate school. Because I was so determined. I continued in school. I didn't stop. I continued, and eventually I outgrew the desk. I couldn't sit in the desk. I had to sit in the chair and scoot up to the desk and lean forward, and I was huge. I was all over the place. And I would go to my prenatal appointments, and I would be sitting on the floor surrounded by my books, doing my term papers and my prenatal appointments. And I actually graduated a semester late because I had my son a week before my final exam, which was fine. It turned out well, because if I had waited, and if I had taken a final exam, I probably would have been tempted to go to work immediately. And because I had to wait and I couldn't work without my degree, that gave me some time to bond with my son and give him the care that he needed. And and there's so many things that I can say, so many ways that the Lord has made in my life and in my son's life, and just taking care of me whether or not I had a job. Actually, Lord took better care of me when I wasn't employed and when I was in between jobs, whether just making me a suction cup for blessings, or sometimes he blessed financially, sometimes he just provided me with opportunities. But either way, he's always blessed me. Um, and now my son is in college, so I did my 18 years, and not that it's over, but we survived, and he's healthy and he's well and he's intelligent and he's an artist, and I'm just really grateful to have had the privilege of raising my son. The other thing I wanted to talk about is living a Christian life as a single woman. It's a challenge. It's very much a challenge, because if you are Christian and if you're non-Christian and single, I don't know how much of a struggle it is, because you probably don't have the convictions of celibacy and waiting on the one for you. But having been married and then being divorced and then having children, it makes it a little more difficult to meet and date and marry the person intended for you, because you're not footloose and fancy free, and people see you as a burden, and most men don't want to raise other men's children, and most women would prefer not to raise another woman's child. So that has been a challenge for me as well, living a single life and just continuing to wait on the Lord to bless me in that regard with a good husband and keep my life pure. When I have stepped outside of God's will, just the consequences of a broken heart and just things that happen when you go outside of God's will, it's just so much better to wait on the Lord and deal with the challenge of loneliness, as opposed to the challenge of something else, like out of wedlock or sexually transmitted disease, or broken heart, or just everything that comes along with single parenthood. And that basically wraps it up.
Spirit and truth, for the Father desires us to worship Him.
Hi, my name is April Phillips, and I just testified on They Overcame By, and you also should give your testimony, because I believe that people could be strengthened in knowing what you've gone through and how the Lord has brought you through, to give people hope who feel like they're the only ones dealing with certain issues. Thanks.